Kia ora and welcome to another episode of Cass Yaps. Today, bit of a funny episode. I thought I would tell you guys a bit of a story time about the biggest. Oh, sorry. It's so fucking uncomfortable with this giant belly. Anyways, you can't even see it, but it's huge. Okay. Today we're going to talk about the biggest fight that me and Nick have ever had. Actually, one of the biggest fights. Actually, yeah, this is my new series. It's called Fight Night. And I'm going to talk about fights that me and Nick have had and what I learned from them and how it got better. Now, all of these are going to be from the first 6 months of us being together. We haven't had any huge fights since then. We have squabbles and we have disagreements 1000%. Me and Nick are both very opinionated, strong minded people. So there's no way to say that our relationship is conflict free because it's not, and it probably never will be. And I don't really want it to not be. Like, I think it's healthy conflict is so important. And I really think it's important to model to our kids that you can disagree with somebody that you really love and still respect them and learn from them. So these are just going to be like big, hectic ones that I think are funny to talk about. I actually haven't asked him if I can do this, but I'm sure he'll be fun with it. Anyways, here we go. Story time. Nick's just moved in with me and there's like a bit of a flood. There's like lots of water all over the floor, right? And I get really stressed out by it. At this point, I'm so overwhelmed so easily. So I'm really stressed out by the water. Nick's like, it's fine. Anyways, Nick sorts it as far as I'm concerned. The next day I go to vacuum, grab the Dyson out, and I go to vacuum. It's not vacuuming. And there's water. The Dyson canister is full. And it's like one of those, it's the cord Dyson, not the stick one. It's filled with water. And I'm like, Nick, why is there water in the Dyson? And he's like, oh, I used it to I vacuumed up the water yesterday. And I was like, why would you, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why would you use the Dyson to vacuum up water? And he was like, because it's a vacuum cleaner. And I was like, you're not meant to vacuum up water with a with a Dyson. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, oh, no, I'm pretty sure you can. And I was like, no, I'm 100% positive you can't. You've broken it. I'm so angry. And I'm so angry at him for making such a stupid mistake kind of thing. He's like, oh, I'll fix it. Goes in, tries to fix it. There's no fixing it. That Dyson is so fucking broken. And I'm fuming. I'm so upset. And also because I like vacuuming because we have Romeo out. There's like dog hair everywhere. So I'm like, not only is the Dyson broken, we don't have a vacuum, and now I need to vacuum. It's so gross. And we get into this giant fight, and I get so angry at him. I'm like, I just can't believe you do this. And to Nick, he's like, I made a mistake. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the Dyson's broken. I'll buy a new Dyson. But it's a thing. It's a thing. And it was kind of the reason I find this fight so fascinating is it was such a look into our childhoods and the way that we were raised. I was really raised with like things had a monetary value. Dysons are expensive. And the thing is, I didn't even pay for this Dyson. Looking back on it, this is a secondhand Dyson that I got given. It was just a really good vacuum cleaner, though. The value of it was still high because it was a really great vacuum cleaner. And you can't make silly mistakes and you can't waste money. I was just poor girl mindset. How are we ever going to afford another Dyson? Nick is like, I made a mistake. I said I'm sorry. I'm going to try and fix it. Why are you losing your shit? This is a Dyson. Like, this is not a really big deal in the grand scheme of things. And it was the most confusing thing for me because I was like, how are you not flooded with shame and guilt and misery? Why do you not feel like the worst person ever? And because yes, it was annoying the Dyson was broken. But if you ask me what was really frustrating about this fight, it's that fact that Nick seemed like he didn't care. And the reason he seemed like he didn't care is because he wasn't beating himself up. He wasn't making himself feel horrific. He wasn't groveling at my feet. He wasn't like desperately trying to fix the problem straight away. He wasn't stressing him. He wasn't stressed. I was the only one stressed out. And I'm like, why are you not stressed? Why are you not like beside yourself? Why are you not, crying at the fact that we've broken the Dyson? What do you mean? And this fight goes on for a couple of days. It's really simmering in the pot. And it wasn't until like now looking back on it, it is because like when Nick broke something as a kid and it was an accident, his mum will go, oh, okay, well, you've broken it. Let's clean it up. Like she wouldn't berate him. She wouldn't make him feel super full of shame. She would be like, all right. And then even when we told her about it, she goes, "Oh, that's an easy mistake. I thought that you could vacuum water up. There's lots of vacuums that you can vacuum water up for." Like, she's already being like, "Oh yeah, that was a mistake." Nick mistook the use of that vacuum. He didn't understand that. That wasn't him being malicious. And for me, I was like, when she did that, I was like, "Oh my God." So if I had done that as a child, I would have been screamed at. Do you know what I mean? I would have been like, "You, like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, that's such a stupid thing to do." Like, I remember one time when I was a kid, I wet a cushion. I wet like one of our couch cushions. It got really wet. I washed it, cleaned it, and then I put it in front of the heater. It was like an oil heater, one of those gas heaters with the little fire there. Put it in front of the heater to dry. It was sitting upright. Somebody knocked it over. It caught on fire, and the couch cushion broke. Oh my God. I got made to feel so bad about it for so long. And everybody would talk about how I burnt the couch cushion. And that was the one thing that I thought of when this whole Dyson thing happened. Like, because I was like, "But you made a mistake and you don't feel really bad about it. Why don't you feel really bad about it?" And then I was like, "Wait, why would I feel really bad about it? It was a mistake." And then I thought of that time. I thought about the couch cushion, and I thought about the years that we had this burnt couch cushion that I was constantly reminded of and teased of, and like told that I was so stupid because I left the couch. And realistically, when I think back on it, I was a kid that was trying her best to make up for a mistake that I'd made for spilling the thing on the couch cushion. And I made a mistake by putting it in front of the thing, and that was silly. But it was a mistake. Like, and it was like this kind of real moment in mine and Nick's relationship where I really started to grasp how differently we were raised and how that was really going to be different for us for the rest of our life. And how my brain's always going to jump to being like feeling shame and guilt and like really upset about something and really hyper stressed about mistakes because I was always made to feel mistakes were my fault, that I've like done something malicious, whereas Nick wasn't. And so I was like, wow, this is so fucking fascinating. And it's so interesting because I actually love it now. Now I love the fact that I can make a mistake and Nick's gonna be like, "Okay, that's all good. I'll clean it up." The other day we have a washing machine and it goes into our laundry tub. And I left stuff in the laundry tub when I put the washing machine on. So it flooded like the laundry and a bit of the garage. And I found it and I was like, "Oh my God." And I told Nick, I was like, "Nick, I flooded the laundry." And he was like, "That's okay. You go look after Nick? I'll sort it out." He cleans everything. And he came back in and he was like, I just said, I was like, "Sorry." And he was like, "That's okay. It's all right. It doesn't matter. It's just water." And I was like, "Okay." And later on he goes, "How cool that you didn't get really upset about that." You would feel like I would usually be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I flooded the laundry. I'm so sorry. Like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Why the fuck didn't I think that I'd left that thing in the thing?" Like, and I would have hovered over him as he cleaned, or I would have desperately tried to clean and felt so stressed out by it. And I would have made literally more of a mess because I would have been so stressed about making this mistake. And this was like, no, I had just made a mistake and I know that Nick would clean it up and he likes cleaning that kind of stuff up. That's his thing. He always wants to be the one to fix things. So, and he was like, "How cool that you didn't like berate yourself and make yourself feel really guilty about that. You were just able to be like, you made a mistake and you moved on from it." And I was like, yeah, Nick, we make mistakes. It's no big deal. Okay. Like, yeah, okay. And it's so funny because I always think about the Dyson thing because I think about how far I've come. Anytime a mistake happens, I make a mistake or Nick makes a mistake, and we both give each other this kindness and grace and love of being like, "Oh, that's okay. Mistakes happen. Let's fix the mistake." And we work together to like fix the mistake. I think, oh my God, how cool. Like, how far from like the absolute fucking mental breakdown I had over this fucking Dyson. Imagine that. And I love it because it's like, means that our kids are never going to grow up in a home where they make mistakes and they feel heaps of guilt and shame. And that means, because I mean, I used to think that guilt and shame was really helpful because it meant that you fixed the problem faster. But you don't. Like, I watch the way Nick can fix a problem because he's not flooded with guilt and shame over everything. He just gets shit done. Oh my God. Problem happened, Nick fix it. But for me, when we first got together before I kind of like healed this, a problem would happen. I would beat myself up. I would tell myself I'm the worst person in the whole entire world. I would spiral. I would feel like shit. And then I would slowly try to fix the problem while feeling like the worst person in the world. And now when I make mistakes and I just be like, "Oh, okay, I need to fix that," Oh my God. Way less exhausting. I don't come back from fixing a problem feeling like the worst person ever. And the problem's solved. And I realized that I didn't always have to like pay in blood, sweat, and tears for every mistake I made because they were mistakes. They weren't things that I'd done maliciously. And it was just, yeah, it's the best fight. And I love talking about it and I love telling people about it because it was the catalyst for change for me to be like, to really have to reflect on my behavior and be like, why am I so desperate for you to feel so guilty right now? Why am I so desperate for you to feel all of these feelings over this fucking Dyson? Like, because I remember he said that. He was like, Cass, it's a vacuum cleaner. It's a fucking Dyson. We can buy a new Dyson. Why are you acting like this? And I was like, "Fuck, why am I acting like this? I don't know." And he was just like, well, get a new vacuum cleaner. Come on. And I was like, right, this is wild. This is crazy. And it was the biggest catalyst for change in our relationship. And I think I love, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to share it with you guys because maybe somebody else has a partner that was raised really differently and fights go like this because of this reason. And I feel like it's quite hard to pinpoint it because I didn't pinpoint it straight away. It took me quite a couple of weeks to reflect on the fight, and for us to talk about it heaps. We talked about this so much, and it was something that we continuously talked about. Anytime I made a mistake or anytime Nick made a mistake, we would come back to this feelings of shame and guilt that I would have. And Nick would be like, everything's okay. You made a mistake. It's not a big deal. And we can get through it. And I remember it was so random, but when we were in Melbourne, I booked us flights home to Auckland. And after I booked them, I was like, oh my God, I think I've done the wrong dates. Fuck, I've done the wrong dates. And then I was like, started stressing. And I was like, oh my God, what's Nick going to say? I've spent all this money on these flights. They're the wrong dates. And then I realized, I was like, oh, Nick would be like, oh, that was a mistake, honey. That's fine. What else do we need? What do we need to do to change those dates? What needs to be done? How do we fix this problem? And now all of a sudden, realize I don't spend heaps of my time anxious or stressed about stuff because I realize that no matter what mistake has happened, even if it wasn't a mistake, even if it's something I did confidently and it didn't turn out right, Nick wouldn't punish me for that. He wouldn't be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I can't believe you did that. Like, I can't believe you've spent all this money, or I can't believe you've broken this, or whatever it is. He's not going to berate me. And now I just get to be like, oh my God, life's so easy when you actually are not scared to make a mistake. And it makes me so much more confident in every area of my life because I realize mistakes aren't bad and you're not going to be teased or bullied or like made to feel like shit for them. So yeah, that is my story. I feel like I've babbled like I always do, but I just thought it's such an interesting thing to share. And I thought it'd be really cool to share with you guys and for you to tell me if you have any similar things where you realize that you and your partner were raised really differently and if that healed you or if that healed them or all the things. I just want to know. Hope you guys had a great day and I hope you enjoyed this episode.